Hello, YouTubers. Welcome to the Zach Duncan Show. That's the only name I can come up with right now because I haven't given too much thought or effort into making this actual show. But this is my show. I'm Zach Duncan, your host. And let me give you the rundown on what this show's about. Now, this show's not about anything. Son of a bitch! Making a fucking YouTube show and the assholes fucking call me. I should have turned my phone off. Sorry about that. Anyways, though, this show's about anything I want to talk about, okay? I have no limitations on what I talk about or who I talk about or places that I talk about, alright? Tonight's show, before I get started, is going to be about tonight's college football game, the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Virginia Tech Hokies. Now, before I get into that, let me give you some ground rules for my show. One, I'm not a racist, sexist, or bigot. I hate everyone equally. Above all, I hate hipsters the most. I think hipsters are a plague on our society, and something needs to be done about hipsters. Now, tonight's game, Ohio State Buckeyes, Virginia Tech Hokies. Let me give you a little backstory on why I dislike both of these teams. First, I'll start with the Virginia Tech Hokies. I just don't like the Virginia Tech Hokies. They play in the same conference and division as my favorite team, which happens to be Georgia Tech. And due to that fact, I hate the Virginia Tech Hokies, and I hope they lose every single game, especially the ones where they play against Georgia Tech. Now, let me move on to the Ohio State Buckeyes. That's going to be interesting. I was in the Marine Corps for a long period of time, several years, and the thing about the Marine Corps is about 80% of the Marine Corps. That's just a rough estimate by me. About 80% of the Marine Corps is from Ohio. Now, incidentally, most of these people from Ohio are Ohio State fans. Why? Because obviously Ohio State is the best team in Ohio, and so by tradition, with most states, most sports teams, people are going to like the best team in that state. I myself, I like Georgia Tech over Georgia. That's just because it's me, but most people in Georgia like Georgia. Now, Ohio State, how do I even describe this? Most of these fans are really obnoxious, and they like their constant position is sitting there with their mouths open because they're just honestly not that intelligent or aware of their physical posture or anything like that. Most of the women are shameless whores, and most of the dudes are just obscene drunkards who run around playing cornhole and other obscene drinking games, which I have no problem with. But mainly their only sin in my eyes is that they're Ohio State fans. Ohio State for the longest time has been overhyped over the past decade. Now, obviously, last season they won the national title. Okay, they won it outright. It wasn't the BCS, which I didn't care too much for. They won the playoff fair and square with their third-string quarterback at that. I'm going to get to him in here a little bit. But they actually did win it. They beat Alabama, which, over the years I've kind of grown to dislike because everyone's jumped on the Alabama bandwagon after they actually started winning games because Nick Saban came down to Alabama and, resuscitated that program. Before that, no one really cared about Alabama. And I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of, pushback from that comment right there, but I honestly really don't give a shit. Now, Ohio State, I remember back, around, 05, 06, all the way up 2010, whatnot. They're all, highly ranked in the preseason polls, very overhyped. And honestly, whenever they played like a good team out of the SEC or whatever, or another conference, they'd always seem to lose. And it was embarrassing. I remember the year, and it was the 07 season, and they got beat by an LSU team that lost 2 regular season games that year. And this is during the era of the BCS where there was no playoff. And they went down to New Orleans. They tried to say they weren't, they had a chip on their shoulder. They knew they were the underdogs, and they still actually lost. It was actually quite hysterical. I laughed my ass off as they lost that game. And now tonight they're playing the Virginia Tech Hokies. Now last year the Virginia Tech Hokies actually upset the Ohio State Buckeyes in Columbus. That's where their shithole stadium is. That big ass decrepit stadium they call the Horseshoe or whatever the fuck they call it. Hopefully I never have to set foot in that piece of shit stadium. Anyways, But Virginia Tech came in there and actually beat them by 2 possessions. I was surprised. I was offshore, and but I saw highlights of the game. I was shocked. I was like, "Holy shit, maybe Virginia Tech's for real." But it turned out that game was a fluke. Virginia Tech managed to get the best of them, and Virginia Tech actually wound up sucking the rest of the year. My team actually beat them. I was pretty stoked about that. But Virginia Tech was just another mediocre ACC team last year. They only won, I think, 7 games, made it to a bowl game. I can't even remember if they won that or not. I don't have the stats with me right now. I apologize for that. Um, but my predictions for the night, one thing to keep in mind, Ohio State's best player is not in the game. And who is that, you might be asking? That's Joey Bosa, their All-American defensive end. He's probably going to go number 1 in the draft as of right now. He's not playing. He got suspended for some gay-ass rule. I think the school actually suspended him, not the retarded-ass NCAA. I hate the NCAA as well with a passion, almost as much as I hate hipsters. But he's not playing tonight. That's going to be a factor. He's a great defensive end. I haven't seen too much tape on him, but I know he is a heck of a player. But my prediction for the night, I think Ohio State's probably going to win by 1 possession. They are playing in Blacksburg, tough stadium to play in, Lane Stadium. They get the Hokies. They get that stupid Hokie call every time they score a touchdown or something. It sounds retarded as hell. And I know those damn hillbilly fans are just louder and all get out. I've never been to a game like that, but I've read stories, heard stories, and whatnot. But I know those fans are pretty fucking rowdy. So my prediction tonight: Ohio State will say 35, Virginia Tech 27, 28, something like that. I don't know. I'm not a professional odds maker or any fucking thing like that. But that's my pick for the night. Ohio State will win, but we'll see. I don't have a crystal ball with me, nor does anybody else that I'm aware of. But this is my first show. I'm talking about Ohio State and Virginia Tech sports. I'll talk a lot about sports, but I'll talk about other things as well. Politics, shitty-ass TV shows, shitty-ass movies. Maybe some shows that I do like, maybe some movies that I do like. A lot of it's shitty because if you're not aware, most of the shit that you see on TV or out in the theater is just a complete shit pile. But tonight it's sports. With that, I'm going to end tonight's show. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I know it wasn't perfect. I did not rehearse this at all. Obviously, I stuttered a few times and mispronounced some words, but whatever. It's my fucking show, so either watch it or don't watch it. I don't care what you say about it. Your opinion is, worth nothing to me, and any publicity is good publicity in my eyes. So, bid you a good evening. Watch the game if you care to, or watch some shitty-ass show on prime time tonight, whatever you want to do. Me, I'm going to get drunk and watch the game and pass out at some period tonight, probably about 3 in the morning. So we'll see. All right. That's all for tonight, guys. And with that, later, suckers.